Good evening. Missouri Attorney General and U.S. Senate candidate Josh Hawley says the behavior detailed in a House Investigative Committee's report is corroborated and impeachable. And he called on fellow Republican Governor Greitens to resign immediately as governor.
Hawley echoes the sentiments of officials both in Washington and Jefferson City following the release of a report detailing the claims of a St. Louis hairdresser about her extramarital affair with Greitens in 2015. KRCG 13's Garrett Bergquist starts our team coverage.
He joins us now in the studio to tell us what comes next.
Well, Megan and Kermit, House Speaker Todd Richardson calls the committee's report beyond disturbing. Greitens' former mistress detailed several sexual acts by the governor which she did not consent to. Richardson says the committee investigating the governor now will look into what disciplinary action, if any, the House should take. That was not previously part of its mission. The legislature has the authority to call itself into a special session. That requires 3/4 of the members of each chamber to sign a petition stating the reason for coming into session.
This was a committee report prepared by some of the most respected members of the General Assembly, who I will note did not make value judgments about the conduct. They simply looked and heard the testimony, did their best job to collect that testimony, and made judgments about what they thought of witness credibility. So I think to the extent that the report is characterized as something other than that, I completely disagree.
House Democrats went a step further. Minority Leader Gail McCann-Beatty says the governor should resign or be impeached.
It was horrifying. It was horrifying that anyone should have to go through something like that. And he clearly used his power to manipulate her.
Greitens struck a defiant tone at a news conference just before the report was released. He called the investigation a witch hunt and says he will not step down. He also questions the secrecy surrounding the House investigation.
No standards of evidence were used. No witnesses were cross-examined. No one who was representing me was allowed in the room, and no members of the press or the public were allowed in the room.
The committee's report indicates there is still work to be done in a separate investigation. The panel wants to look into links between the charity Greitens ran before running for governor and his gubernatorial campaign. Richardson says Greitens was given the opportunity to testify before the committee, but did not take it. Greitens' trial on a felony charge of invasion of privacy begins on May 14th. The legislature's regular session ends 4 days later.
Garrett, thank you. Our news team went through each document included in the investigative committee's report on the governor.
KRCG 13's Ashley Zavala has been poring over that report since it was released this afternoon. She joins us live from the newsroom with the findings.
Kermit and Megan, we went through about 200 pages worth of transcripts and exhibits, all of it detailing the apparent relationship Greitens had with a woman who first started out as his hair cutter and became his mistress. Now, the committee interviewed 4 witnesses, including the alleged victim at the center of his criminal case. Her ex-husband and 2 of the woman's close friends also testified. The committee found the alleged victim to be a credible witness. The alleged victim told committee members Greitens touched her inappropriately without her consent and forced her to perform sexual acts on him. He's also accused of slapping her. Now, just within the last hour, Governor Greitens released a statement on these allegations in the transcript saying, quote, "This was an entirely consensual relationship and any allegation of violence or sexual assault is false." He says this was an unfortunate process in which good people, including some on the committee, were left to try and do the right thing and sort through lies and falsehoods without access to the full facts. In the court of law, everyone will have the facts, and these allegations will be proven false. Committee members say they gave the governor the opportunity to testify, which he refused. Now, the report was purely informational. Committee members did not include a final conclusion or a formal recommendation in this report. You can find all 200 pages of the report on our website right now, transcripts, exhibits, and the report on our website at krcgtv.com. Reporting live in the newsroom, Ashley Zavala, KRCG 13.
House leaders launched their investigation of Greitens at the end of February after he was indicted. By then, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney was already 6 weeks down that road.
Forgive me, because I remember.
St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner launched her investigation January 11th, the day after the KMOV story aired. Having already admitted to the affair, Greitens avoided the media and questions for more than a week, then denied the allegations surrounding the relationship in a Capitol News conference January 22nd.
There was no blackmail. There was no violence. There was no photograph for blackmail. There was no threat of using a photograph for blackmail.
But the criminal investigation went forward, and a month later, a St. Louis grand jury indicted Eric Greitens on a felony charge of invasion of privacy. In the weeks since, the prosecutor has hired outside help. The judge has denied requests to delay or accelerate the trial schedule, and just this week issued a gag order to stop the public discussion of information gathered in closed proceedings. So that gets us up to date. Social media is buzzing with the latest news in the Greitens investigation.
KRCG 13's Tommy Sladek joins us live outside the Capitol with reaction from mid-Missourians about today's events.
Hey, Kermit and Megan, good evening. Tonight we asked you to share your thoughts on the governor's remarks and the allegations. Dozens of you commented, including Melinda Overhoff, who says, "I felt his speech was right on. Let him have his day in court where both sides are heard." Ryan Allen writes, "He lies just like Trump, and everything is a witch hunt. His days are numbered before he is impeached, and should be." Now, the talk of the town on High Street here in Jefferson City tonight was, one, the much anticipated good weather, but also the Greitens investigation. One Missourian we caught up with calls it all disappointing.
Hoping that he'd be a better role model than what's alleged, and I just hope that if this is true, that they proceed with what they're doing and we can get someone better in office there.
Now, it's not too late to share your thoughts. You can still find this story on our Facebook page. Reporting live in Jefferson City, Tommy Sladek, KRCG 13.
This is a topic of conversation buzzing around the Capitol, both from constituents and lawmakers.
Several spoke out tonight upon reading the report. KRCG 13's Megan Sanchez joins us in the studio now with what Greitens' legislative colleagues are saying.
Kermit and Megan, it took almost no time for responses to start flooding social media, and several lawmakers sent statements to our inbox. Senator Claire McCaskill writes, quote, "I have read the official report from the Republican-led Missouri House investigation, including the sworn testimony. It is clearly time to put the interests of the people of Missouri first. The governor should resign," end quote. And Representative Vicky Hartzler told the Kansas City Star Greitens' behavior in the report surpasses disturbing and is, quote, "It is disgusting." She goes on to say, although he is due his day in court, the report calls into question his character as an individual, regardless of whether a law has been broken or not. We have additional lawmaker reaction on our website, krcgtv.com.
And now, your KRCG 13 Weather Authority First Weather.
Seems we had some trouble with the audio there. And this is the full document right there.
We've told you 200 pages. This is it. There are exhibits. There is transcription of testimony. There are conclusions of the committee. You will find it all on our website, krcgtv.com. You can read for yourself.
It's a lot to go through. What is the potential fallout from today's report release?
We will hear from a political science professor about the takeaway from these events. Still ahead on KRCG 13 live at 10.
You're watching KRCG 13 live at 10 with Kermit Miller, Megan Lane, weather with Zach Paul, and Rod Smith with sports. KRCG 13 live at 10. And now, your KRCG 13 Weather Authority forecast.
Well, we had a good time today in Eldon programming Weather Radios. Met a lot of folks, and it was a good time. Everybody ready for some warmer weather, which we got today. If you still need a weather radio, we're going to be out programming them next week. We'll be in California at the Orschelns on Thursday, April the 19th from 11 to 1. You can pick those radios up at a discount at any Orscheln Farm and Home dealer right now or Hy-Vee between now and the end of June. Coming up tomorrow, we'll be doing our severe weather special. That'll be at 6:30 immediately following KRCG 13 live at 6. And then make sure you stick around, join us on Facebook afterwards. We'll be doing a live chat, answering any questions you might have about the upcoming severe weather season. Hour by hour as we look ahead to the day tomorrow. If you like today, you're going to love tomorrow. Still going to be on the breezy side. Fire danger still going to be on the higher side. But notice those morning temperatures. We're starting in the mid to upper 50s. Plenty of sunshine getting into the afternoon. And I think we're going to find a lot of areas touching that 80-degree mark. But many of you are going to be in the upper 70s. A very warm day tomorrow. Here at 10 o'clock, we're still dealing with mild temperatures. Mid-60s right now. Some still at 70 degrees. 67 currently in Columbia. Jefferson City at 69 degrees. Some of the cooler temperatures down in the valley, down around the Vichy area. Rowell Airport holding on to 62 degrees. Some high thin clouds still overhead. We are going to gradually find those clearing as we get into the morning tomorrow. But a warm night and a warm day on tap as we look ahead to your Thursday. Here's Futurecast going with clear skies, temperatures in the 50s as we start your day. Sunshine, gusty southwest winds. Once again, temperatures right around 80 degrees. I think a few of us are going to get into the low 80s tomorrow. We're going to find a warm night again as we get into your Thursday night, Friday morning. Temperatures staying in the 60s. We'll find clouds building as we go through the day on your Friday. Temperatures a little bit cooler, but still in the 70s. And we're going to find a chance for a couple strong showers and storms rolling through late Friday afternoon, more so into Friday evening. That severe risk right now mainly confined to the western and southwest part of the state with the higher risk, but a lot of central Missouri right now is in that category 2, which means a couple of severe thunderstorms can be expected. Areas in the green means a couple, at least one, maybe two would become severe. So the greatest risk, again, still on that western half and down into southwest Missouri. Something we're watching very closely for you here as this is the first real big-time spring thunderstorms that we've had. With sunshine on your Thursday, we'll find temperatures climbing into the lower 80s. Looking for a high around 82 degrees tomorrow. Windy for your Friday. Mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures back into the 70s. Some strong thunderstorms late Friday night. We get into the weekend. Much colder. 56 on your Saturday. Some lingering rain showers early in the morning. Maybe a few drops of rain on Sunday. Possibly mixed with some snowflakes. Not a lot expected there, but temperature is going to be about 40 degrees colder, or at least almost 40 degrees colder between what we'll see tomorrow and Sunday afternoon, but it's only temporary. Next week,
just got to bring us back
we're
down.
finding some 60s again next week, so it's just just a small little dip this week.
You've redeemed yourself.
May need some therapy.
I think so. Yeah.
DACA recipients go to the state capitol to protest part of a higher education bill.
And one Missouri senator says it may be time to regulate social media. What Roy Blunt has to say next on KRCG 13 live at 10. Senator Roy Blunt says it may be time to regulate social media companies more closely.
Blunt and more than 40 other U.S. senators questioned Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg on Capitol Hill. He says large tech companies such as Facebook have grown much larger than anyone expected.
Do you think there needs to be a change in the regulatory approach to these social media companies?
I think it's something that we ought to think about. One of the things that Mr. Zuckerberg agreed to do yesterday was give some of his own ideas about where regulation might work. Federal Trade Commission's been giving a lot of advice of what these companies should do, but there hasn't really been much follow-up by either the companies or the government.
Zuckerberg today testified before a House committee.
The state capitol was already a busy place even before lawmakers released the report on Governor Greitens. DACA advocates showed up to urge lawmakers to strike sections of House Bill 2003. This higher education bill would require colleges and universities to charge anyone with unlawful immigration status international student tuition. It also would prevent colleges and universities from giving scholarships to such individuals. This includes DACA recipients.
I'm physically, emotionally, mentally drained of having to prove to politicians that I am worthy enough to have equal rights, to simply have access to an education, to be able to get a driver's license for myself, and just to even exist.
Bill sponsor Scott Fitzpatrick provided us with a written statement on the stipulations the bill would have for DACA recipients. You can read the full statement on our website, krcgtv.com. We have more information on today's big story, the report from the committee investigating the governor.
We speak to a political science professor next on KRCG 13 live at 10.
Coming up tomorrow morning on KRCG 13 Live at Sunrise, what you don't know about Missouri school testing standards.
And the warmest day of the week still in store. That's Thursday. And then we are still talking about that storm potential for your Friday.
Join us and get your morning started with KRCG 13 Live at Sunrise.
We're speaking now with Carlos Cunha, an associate professor of political science at Lincoln University in Jefferson City. Professor, you have seen what has gone on today. You know what's in the report to some degree. You heard the governor's response. It was defiant. What is your takeaway on his political survivability from all of this?
Well, from his perspective, he's already putting a spin on it, assuming that political survival is possible. It'll depend on how things emerge between now and when the trial is actually held and what the decision that's made is made. It'll be difficult for him to survive if it's a detrimental decision that comes out of that particular court.
I'm sorry, the Attorney General, others have said, based on what they've seen, it is credible information, it is corroborated information, and it is impeachable information. I have Article 7, Section 1 of the Constitution in front of me. It lists 8 different conditions for impeachment. The first one is crimes. Moral turpitude is included in the list. Does what you've seen look impeachable?
Yes, I think if things work out according to what the alleged incidents were, yeah, I think it could be impeachable.
You are a teacher. What do you tell students about what they are seeing?
Well, generally I tell students they should always be analytic and make sure that they get varied opinions on what they're seeing. And part of what I tell them is also listen to what is being said. Obviously, the governor put a particular spin on how he would like things to be perceived and is setting up a detrimental image on the other side. But I always tell the students, listen to both sides, don't just listen to one side.
Professor, thank you for joining us. We will have much to watch going forward. Megan?
All right, thanks, Kermit. You can find that full report from the investigative committee, including transcripts, exhibits, a summary, and all their findings on our website, krcgtv.com. The Cardinals debut on Facebook, but did they win? And the Mizzou softball team enjoys some nice weather and more. Rod's in next with sports.
News for Columbia, Jefferson City, and Mexico. KRCG 13 Live at 10 will be right back. And now your KRCG 13 Sports, driven by Toyota. Let's go places.
If you tried to watch the Cardinals game on TV today, you probably didn't have any luck. It was on Facebook, something that Major League Baseball is trying this season for a few games. Cards and Brewers finishing the 3-game series. Nice day for baseball at Busch. Adam Wainwright gave up a couple of early solo home runs. Not a bad outing. 7 innings, 3 runs for Waino. Cards got to within 1 in the 9th. Tommy Pham belts the solo home run. But Dexter Fowler, pinch hitting, goes down on strikes. Cards lose it 3-2 on the Facebook broadcast. Now a dramatic end to last night's game. In case you missed it, Cards and Brewers went to extra innings. Bottom of the 11th, Matt Carpenter ended it with a walk-off 2-run home run. There was a big celebration at home plate. Cards beat Milwaukee last night 5-3, but ended up losing that series 2-1. They will travel on to Cincinnati tomorrow. A warm day of baseball in Kansas City, finally. Matinee game with the Mariners. Seattle got a couple runs in the first. Kansas City ties it up in the 4th. Paulo Orlando delivered the 2-run double, 2-2 game. Danny Duffy settled down after a rough first inning, pitched well into the 6th, striking out 7. But Seattle broke the 2-2 tie in the 8th. Kyle Seager just gets one over Jorge Soler in right. 4-2 Mariners, and that was the final. The Royals fall to 3-7 on the young season. They will host the Anaheim Angels tomorrow night. It was a nice day for high school baseball here in mid-Missouri. The Helias Crusaders at home hosting St. Dominic. A very different lineup for Helias, though. Several starters did not play. The visiting Crusaders from St. Dominic scored 2 runs in the 3rd, 3 more in the 5th. Helias losing 5-0 to St. Dominic. Baseball in New Bloomfield, the Wildcats welcoming the Fatima Comets on a windy day, made for some adventure on some early pop flies. No effect on this shot off the bat of Jacob Creedy. The Fatima senior doubling in 2 runs in the second inning. His grandma cheering on Jacob. There she is. Comets got a couple more on wild pitches to take a 4-0 lead. Jordan Herzing slides in safely, and that was just the beginning. Fatima wins it big, 21-1 at New Bloomfield. The Harrisburg Bulldogs get victory number 1 of the season. 6-3 winners over New Franklin. Owensville beats Bell 5-3. Mexico falling twice to Kirksville 9-8 and 13-9. A nice day for softball at Mizzou. The Tigers playing a midweek home game against Omaha. Tigers get on the board of the first, runner on for Colby Romaine, and that will clear the fence in left field. 2-run shot. Missouri on top 2-0. They added a run in the second. Riley Pierce shot to short. She'll beat the throw for an infield single. Reagan Ash scores. Pierce with 3 hits, 3 RBIs today. Lauren Rice dominant in the circle, tossing a 1-hitter. She retired the last 18 batters she faced. The Tigers blank Omaha. The final 6-0. Missouri will host Auburn this weekend. Mizzou basketball has officially signed a new point guard for next season. Certainly a position of need with only Jordan Geist returning. Xavier Pinson from Chicago Simeon Career Academy is joining Torrance Watson, Javon Pickett, and KJ Santos in the 2018 recruiting class. Pinson averaged about 12 points, 13 assists a game in his senior high school season. You can read more on our sports page, krcgtv.com. Final night of the NBA regular season. Jefferson City High grad OG Anunoby and the Toronto Raptors have already clinched the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, playing the Heat in Miami tonight. OG making another start in his rookie season. He would make the early 3-pointer. Toronto led by 6 at halftime, 53-47. On to the third quarter. Look at OG run the court here. Finishes with the layup. 5 points tonight. This game would go to overtime. Miami beats OG and the Raptors 116-109. Toronto will open up the playoffs against the Washington Wizards. High school soccer. Fulton falls to Kirksville. It was Rolla losing to Union. And in high school tennis, Elias over Father Tolton 9-0. High school golf. Boys action at the Laker Invitational. 28 teams at Old Kinderhook in Camdenton. The Rockbridge Bruins ran away with this thing. Solid team at 294. It was Hudson Dubinsky, the medalist, with a 65. Elias finishing in 6th. Hickman 7th. Jefferson City in 8th place. Rod's Big Old Fish is brought to you by the Naut Naut Agency, proud to support the Special Learning Center in Jefferson City and the big Capital City Cook-Off. That's coming up 2 weeks from Friday. No fish there, but a great fundraiser. Tanner Abbott caught nice catch out of Huff Park Lake in Jefferson City. This largemouth bass weighing 5.5 pounds, taken back in mid-March. Thanks to Grace Woodland for sending in the picture for Rod's Big Old Fish.